What's up guys, Eric here from Techisode TV, and today we're taking a look at the top 8 Note 8 cases for every situation. I also shot this video wide, so if you're using a Galaxy Note 8 to watch this video, you can go ahead and hit that full screen button and not have to worry about clipping off any part of the video. There are a lot of cases here, so what I've done is in the description, if you want to skip to a different case, I have every case listed in order of appearance, as well as the time code, so you can just click the time code and it'll take you right to that case. So if you want to compare two cases, you just click the time code for, say, this case, then click the time code for that case, and that's a way that you can quickly compare the two cases. Before we start, I want to mention a few common things to all of these cases. All of the buttons are very tactile, the cutouts are well placed and amply sized, they all offer at least a medium level of protection, and they all work with Samsung Pay and wireless charging with the exception of one of the cases, but I'll mention that when I review that case. Lastly, I have Amazon affiliate links for all these cases in the description, so if you guys see a case that you like and you want to be awesome and support the channel, you can go ahead and buy the case through the affiliate link below. First up, we have the Ringke Wave case. Now, this is a case for anyone who wants a slim case that still offers a decent amount of protection. This is a two-part case. It is a polycarbonate and thermoplastic polyurethane combination. The polycarbonate is a shell that, let me just go ahead and take this apart real quick so I can show you. So here's the polycarbonate piece, and here's the thermoplastic polyurethane. Now, polycarbonate is a very hard material. It doesn't flex much at all, and thermoplastic polyurethane is a very flexible, kind of squishy material. Now, thermoplastic polyurethane is a combination of hard plastic, similar to polycarbonate, and like a silicone base. So silicone cases are very squishy, very malleable. This is somewhere in between the squishy malleableness of a silicone case and a polycarbonate case. So I'm going to go ahead and put these pieces back together. So I have the two pieces back together. Now let's go ahead and pop the phone in. Every time I put a case in, I always put the bottom in first, followed by the top corners. Now this case in particular, I did notice was a little bit harder to get on, but if you follow the putting the bottom in first and the top corners, it's not too bad. Once it's on, it feels great in the hand. It's a very smooth back. This little ridge here where these two materials meet, it's not annoying or anything like that. It is there. You can tell that the ridge is there. But this wave pattern is also textured, so it's part of this textured design on the back, and that's there by design. It's there intentionally. Looking at the cutouts while we're here, ample space. It's just one giant cutout here, so you can get to your fingerprint sensor nice and easy. Heart rate monitor, no problem, and your cameras are not obstructed at all. The cutouts on the bottom look great. As far as button tactility, this is very nice tactility. They have a nice click response to them. They're very easy to press. The lips on the top and bottom are pretty good. I'd say this is good for a medium drop. So phone out of your pocket, getting out of the car, waist drops, no problem. Head height, you'd probably be pretty good in most situations. Head height, the lip is pretty substantial there. It's definitely good for laying face down on the table. You've got plenty of lip height for that. But dropping it from head height, I'd say you're probably pretty good, but I wouldn't make a habit of doing it. As far as the S Pen cutout, you can get to the S Pen no problem. Just use your thumb and then you use an index finger or something like that and you can get it out with no issues from really any way that you would take the S Pen out. It comes out nice and easy. The last thing to point out on this case is that there are two little holes here on the side, and this is for like a lanyard attachment, something like that. So if for some reason you wanted to have like a wrist attachment or something like that for this, you could do that. Or if you wanted to have, I guess, your keys or something attached to the side of it, you could do that too. This is just to attach different things. That option is here for this case. And there's also some Ringke branding on the back here. As far as taking these cases off, some of them do fit pretty tight. So what I typically do is I just push on one of the corners with two thumbs like this, and I have my index fingers behind. Sometimes I'll put them up by the camera, by the fingerprint sensor, to get a little bit more leverage to push the corners out, and it pops off just like that. So let's go ahead and set this to the side, and take a look at the next case, which is the Spigen Neo Hybrid. This is also a two-part case. You have a polycarbonate shell here, and the inside is thermoplastic polyurethane. You have some Spigen branding on the back here, as well as Neo Hybrid branding here on the side. I'm not going to separate the two pieces of this case because you don't need to put the phone in, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop the phone in. Again, bottom first, and the top corners. This case fits a little bit slimmer than the Ringke case that I just showed you, but it still has great protection. There are decent sized bezels on this one as well, on the top and bottom. I'd say you're definitely good for laying face down on the table, no problem. And again, waist height, no problem. Head height, I'd be a little bit more cautious with this one at head height compared to the Ringke case, just because these bezels are just a little bit thinner, a little bit shallower than the Ringke case. But again, you could probably take some drops head height and not be too concerned about it. Again, I wouldn't make a habit of doing that though. Cutouts on the back, again, it's just one giant cutout and it's amply spaced so you don't have any obstruction to your cameras, your flash, your heart rate sensor, or your fingerprint sensor. No issues there. The S Pen slot on the bottom, the cutout there, no problem at all. This sits actually almost flush to the bottom of the phone. It's just a little bit of a bump here. Again, you're going to get plenty of protection, but your S Pen is very well exposed, very easy to get out of its silo. Cutouts also on the bottom are very well spaced, as mentioned at the beginning of the video. Lastly, the buttons on this case are also very tactile. Spigen's notorious for having very good buttons on their cases, so if you're looking for very tactile buttons, this is great. Very, very tactile, very clicky. You can actually hear it click. I don't know if you can hear that on the video. Let me put it closer to the mic so you can hear it. So as you can see, very clicky, very tactile buttons. Definitely an awesome, awesome case if you're looking for something very slim that offers a lot of protection. This texture on the back is pretty smooth. It is grooved. You can see in the texture that there are kind of little divots in here, little lines. You can kind of feel those if you run your finger across it. But again, it's a very, very smooth back of the case with just a small amount of friction. So let's go ahead and put this case down and check out the next one. Next up, we have one of my favorite cases. This is the Lumion Osprey, and this I kind of dubbed the gym goer's case because here there's this cool mechanism where you slide it out and you get two cards that you can put in here. So this can be maybe like your gym ID and a credit card, then you can leave your wallet in your car. Now, the reason I like this so much is that this isn't just a normal sliding back and forth mechanism. As you can hear, it's actually clicking in and out of place. If you can hear that, this is an assisted opening and assisted closing. So as I push over, there's a certain point at which it just snaps into place one way, and if I keep pushing the other way, then there's a certain point at which it will just snap open. So this snapping mechanism is really cool. It's sort of like one of those things that you get addicted to, like when you're clicking a pen and people just kind of click pens because it gets addicting. Same thing. When I have this case on, I just find myself constantly opening and closing this thing because it's just a super addicting thing to do. So let's go ahead and pop the phone in now. So phone pops in nice and easy. Buttons are very clicky, very tactile, no issue with the buttons at all. On the back, you have an ample cutout here, no obstruction of your cameras or your fingerprint sensor. You can reach in there, nice and easy to unlock your device, no problem. Looking at the bottom, you have an ample cutout for the S Pen. You can get into that without any issues at all, so that's another great thing. Cutouts are also very good on the bottom. Looking at the bezel on the top and bottom, this bezel is actually very small compared to the rest of them. It is raised, so you can lay it face down on a table and not worry about the screen of your phone touching at all. But for drops, I'd say you're good maybe waist height, but dropping it from head height onto something like gravel or something like that probably wouldn't be the best idea. I definitely wouldn't test it out by doing that because these bezels, like I said, are very small. Dropping it on flat surfaces, like if you're at the gym, you'll probably be fine because this is raised up enough that these will touch your gym floor before anything else does. So again, that's kind of why I dubbed this the gym goer's case, is it's good enough protection for the gym, and you get two card slots in the back as well. And while we have that open here, let's actually go ahead and put these in. So let's say this is your ID, and this here's your credit card, and it just slides open and closed just like that. You definitely cannot put 3 credit cards in here. Credit cards are just too thick for it, and the little mechanism that's used to snap back and forth will get caught on your third card when you try to put it in there. You also can't put cash back here. You won't be able to put any cash back here. This is strictly just cards that you can put back here. If you're using something thinner than a credit card, like let's say you have a credit card, an ID, and maybe you have like a gym ID that's thinner than a credit card, then you might be able to put that back here as well. That shouldn't be an issue. And then when you want to take the card out, there's a little slot here, and you just put your finger in there, and then you just pull the card out like that, and you can pull both cards out from that little slot and close it up, and you're good to go. Now, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned how one of the cases is not entirely wireless charging capable or Samsung Pay capable. If you have 2 credit cards in the back of this and you try to use wireless charging, you're going to get some intermittent functionality. Sometimes it may work, sometimes it may not work, so you're probably just going to have to take the cards out if you want to use wireless charging with this case on. Same deal with Samsung Pay. With 2 cards in the back, Samsung Pay is not going to work as reliably. It might work here and there, but again, you may want to take the cards out if you're going to try to use Samsung Pay with this case on. So that's it for the Osprey. Now let's take a look at the next case. This next one is for people who want to carry around credit cards and stuff, but they don't want this slide case. They prefer the traditional folio cases. I'll go ahead and put the phone down here real quick. So this is the Spigen Wallet S case, and one of the things I love about this case is that on the inside, you have an entire case, protective shell around here. Now this is polycarbonate in here, so it's a very hard material, but it goes all the way around your phone, and it's very protective. Most of the folio cases you're going to see don't actually have full protection around the outside of the phone. It'll maybe just grab corners, and that's about it, or maybe a little bit on the sides, but it won't have as much protection as this particular case has, and that's why this one made it into the top 8 case review over a bunch of the other folio cases. As you can see, it comes with this little pamphlet card here, and it basically says to put your magnetic strip on the inside when you put credit cards in. The reason being is that this little strap here is magnetic, so when you close the case, that magnetically clamps down there. So if you have that magnet next to your credit card stripe, and it stays there for extended periods of time, and you're constantly opening and closing, and you have this changing magnetic field running across a magnetic strip, you could change the properties of that magnetic strip, and then your credit card won't work anymore. So that's just something to be aware of. If you do get this case, you're going to put credit cards in it, put the magnetic strip towards the inside of the case. Speaking of the inside of the case, if you open it up, you get some extra space here for money. As you can see, you can hold 3 credit cards, but you can actually probably fit 6 or maybe even 9 credit cards, I think was the max that I got in here. It's going to stretch a lot if you do that, and I don't recommend it, because if you put 9 cards in here for a while, and then you decide, you know what, I only want 3 cards in here, well, too bad, because if you just put 3 cards after stretching it out for 9, and you tip your case, the cards are just going to fall out. So I only recommend 1 in each slot, maybe 2 in each slot max. I wouldn't go beyond that if you want this case to last you a long time. Before we put the phone in, I just want to point out one more thing. There is this cutout here, and this is actually a bit of a recessed section of the case, and you put a metal plate in here from Spigen, and then Spigen has a magnetic clamp or a magnetic mount that you could put in your car. So if you put this plate in here and you put your phone in on top of it, then you can actually magnetically connect your phone to a mount in your car. So that's what this cutout's for. That's pretty neat. I don't have that mount, but if you did want to get that type of mount, then this is a nice little cutout, and it's not going to add any bulk to the phone. All right, so let's go ahead and pop the phone in now. Again, bottoms first, and then push the top corners in. Pops in nice and easy. If we close it up, you can see that there's a cutout here for the speaker, and obviously your microphones are exposed down here. So if you get a phone call in, you can open it up, answer the phone call, close it up, and then you can take the call like this instead of taking a call like this and having this part kind of slap you in the face while you're making a phone call. As far as the cutouts go, they're great on the bottom. Plenty of room here to get into your S Pen. No problems at all with that. The cutouts on the sides for the buttons, they're actually just full cutouts. So obviously the buttons are very tactile because you're touching the phone itself. Flipping the phone over to the back, you can see here that the cutouts are also very good here. It's just one giant cutout like the rest of these cases are. And you get perfect access to everything. It's not hard at all to get into your fingerprint sensor, and your cameras are not obstructed at all either. So great cutouts on the back. The last cool feature about this is that if you want to watch a video, say in landscape mode, you can get the video playing, and then this piece actually flips up like this, and you can tilt it like that so that you can watch landscape videos with this folio case. So that's a pretty nice feature. It's a pretty simple feature that adds no bulk to the case. This piece here, in case you're wondering, does it flap back and hold in place with a magnet? No, that's something that I wish Spigen had done. If you put that metal plate in the back, I believe this is the magnetic part and not the metal piece, so this would probably magnetically clip to that. Another thing to keep in mind for people who are nitpicky about these things is that if you want to change the volume, well, you have to kind of lift the phone up and then change the volume and then put it back down. Obviously, that's going to happen with any folio case that does this, but I figured I'd just point that out in case you guys are wondering. As far as the materials, this is like a faux leather material. It's very soft, feels really good, it feels really premium. As far as drop protection goes, I'd say you would do pretty good. Waist drops, no problem, especially if this is closed. Head height, I wouldn't be terribly comfortable with that. Unless you're taking a call like this, head height I'd be a little bit uncomfortable with. You'll notice that if it falls and lands on one of these corners, this is going to push up out of the way, and you're left with just this this thin case to protect it. Now this case will give you some protection, but compared to the rest of the cases, this inner shell here is probably the least protection. Actually, no, it's definitely the least protection of any of these cases. So not the most safe as far as drops go, but definitely better than most of the other folio cases, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and pop this out and take a look at the next case. While the Galaxy Note 8 may be IP68 certified for dust and water resistance, that doesn't mean it's waterproof. So if you're going to take this to, say, the beach, or maybe you're going to go snorkeling somewhere, and you want to get some underwater video with your Galaxy Note 8, I highly recommend a waterproof case. And the one I recommend is the Temdan waterproof case. Now the reason I recommend this one is, one, it's super inexpensive, and two, it comes with a lot of actually pretty cool accessories as well. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at this. It's obviously a two-part case, and I'm just going to go ahead and toss the phone in right away, and then we'll take a closer look at it. So you put the front of the phone in first, and you press that into place. Then you take the back, and then you press that into place. And as you can see, there's like a little lip that kind of goes around and grabs onto all the different sides to create that waterproof seal. And Temdan also recommends closing this up with no phone inside and just a paper towel, just to make sure that everything is perfectly waterproof before you actually put your phone in and dunk it underwater. So that's definitely a good idea to do. Now the buttons on this are actually pretty tactile. I mean, they're definitely not the best. They're clicky for sure, but they're not as good as the rest of the cases here. I'm not too concerned with that though, because this is really one of those cases that you're going to throw on your phone when you decide to go to the beach and you want to go snorkeling or you want to take some underwater photos. You put this case on your phone, you do that, but then every other day you're not going to have this case on your phone. It's a pretty big, it's a pretty bulky case, and because of that, you're obviously going to get a ton of protection. I mean, these bumpers are huge. I feel very confident head height drops with this absolutely no problem at all. Another great feature is that there's actually this S Pen flap here. So if you pull this out, and this is obviously a waterproof seal as well, you see that you get access to your S Pen. So you just eject your S Pen by putting your finger in there. You could hear it just clicked out, but now you're probably wondering how you actually get your finger in there to get it out. Well, they actually included these two little squares here, and all you do is close it back up like this, and then you kind of put your thumb on the end here, and in sort of like a rocking motion, one of those squares is going to catch the S Pen and pull it out. So just like, there we go, just like that. So that pulls the S Pen out, and then you have full access to your S Pen. You can take that out, and you can close this back up, and you're good to go. The awesome part about quickly being able to get your S Pen out is that the S Pen is also IP68 certified for dust and water resistance, which means you can take this underwater, and if this breaks, that's not so bad because this is a whole lot less expensive than the phone is. And the advantage of using the S Pen over your finger is that this uses a completely different type of technology. This uses an electromagnetic field to figure out where you're writing on the screen, whereas your finger uses a capacitive touch. And so since this uses a different type of technology, this works underwater, and your finger won't. So if you want to switch between taking pictures and videos while you're underwater, the S Pen's the only way you're going to be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put the S Pen back in because I don't need it right now. There we go, click that into place. And then you can also see that there's also flaps for your charge ports as well as your headphone jack. So let me go ahead and pry these open. Again, these are in there pretty tight because they do make a waterproof seal. But once you get it out, there you go. You've got no problem getting your connectors in there. Another thing to point out real quick before I forget is that call quality is actually really good. So this is a completely waterproof, watertight case here. But if this speaker works great, I can't tell that I'm actually talking to someone with this case on it. It sounds perfectly normal. The speaker is actually pretty muffled, so if you're going to be listening to music with this case on, I highly recommend opening the S Pen port because that's going to give you much better sound transmission. As far as the back goes, a lot of people ask if this fingerprint sensor works. It does. You just have to make sure that this film is clean on both sides, as well as the sensor on your phone itself needs to be clean. So before you put it in here, wipe your sensor down with like a microfiber cloth or something like that. Also wipe the inside of this down to make sure everything's clean, and then you'll be able to use your fingerprint to unlock the device without any issues there. You can see I just did it there. I'll show that again for you guys. So I'll put my finger on the back, and it unlocks just fine. The cutouts for the camera are obviously pretty good on this. Actually, if I open up the camera, I can show you that there's no obstruction at all. Everything looks crystal clear through this lens. So again, for all that underwater photography, this is going to look great. So at the beginning, I mentioned that this comes with a lot of cool accessories. So first off, you get this little guy here. Now this is like a, kind of like a little lanyard thing. So it goes into this corner section here. So you kind of thread that through, and then you can put this around your wrist. So when you're taking those underwater photos and videos, you can just let go of the phone and it's going to stay on your wrist. So if it actually falls out of your hand, you don't have to worry about your phone sinking to the bottom of the ocean. Another great one is this guy here. Now this is the same thing. You have a little basically lanyard piece that connects in here, and then this whole piece can either go around your wrist, but this actually can support the weight of the device and will allow you to have your device float. So you can just let your phone go and it'll just float there at the surface of the water, which is pretty neat. So if you're really worried about losing your phone, just attach this and you can put this on your wrist. You can just hold it, whatever, and you don't have to worry about your phone sinking to the bottom at all. The next accessory is really cool. This is a watertight auxiliary connection, 3.5mm jack connection. And so all you do is you open up the flap on the bottom and then press this in, and it's going to press in very tight because, again, this is a completely watertight connection that you're making here. And here, this end will just plug into your headphones. So if you have waterproof headphones, then now you've got a waterproof device to plug your waterproof headphones in. So you're doing some snorkeling and you want to listen to some music, or let's say you're a swimmer and you like to swim at the beach for some reason. Maybe you're training for a triathlon or something like that. Then you can go ahead and strap this onto your arm. You can get a strap as well, and maybe strap this to your arm or something like that, and then put this in, and then put your headphones in, and you can listen to your music while you swim. So this is a really, really neat accessory, and this is all included with the waterproof case, and this is one of the least expensive waterproof cases you can buy. So I'm thoroughly impressed with what Temdan has done with this case. So this last accessory is just a little kickstand, and again, this all comes with the case when you get it. So this kickstand obviously kicks out like that. This is an adhesive back, so you peel this back, and then you can stick it on the back of your case like that. So if you want to watch some of the underwater videos you took later and you just want to put it up on a kickstand, you can do that with this here. So that's it for the Temdan case. Let's go ahead and pop this case off and we'll get over to the next one. The next case is the Spigen Tough Armor. This is also a two-part case. There's a polycarbonate outer shell and a thermoplastic polyurethane inside. I'm just going to go ahead and pop the phone right in here. So the buttons on this are very clicky, very tactile, and this is where one of the coolest features come in, is actually in the buttons. If you look at the side here, there's actually a texture on the Bixby button, and that's awesome because I've heard about a lot of people accidentally clicking the Bixby button when they think they're hitting the volume down button. So the fact that this texture is here, every time you reach over, they're going to be like, yep, that one's textured, that's definitely my Bixby button, I'm going to slide my finger up and hit the right button. So I think that's pretty cool. Looking at the volume buttons, there's actually a minus and a plus little icon here, which is pretty cool. And then PWR on this side for power, which is also another neat little addition there. And you do get some Tough Armor branding here on the side. This case is obviously the blue case. They do have a few different colors as well. Blue just happened to be my personal favorite color. And on the back, you'll also see that there's some more Spigen branding on this kickstand that pops out. Now, this isn't magnetic or anything like that. It's just press fit, so you kind of press it in there and you can feel it kind of snaps into place. And then you use your nail to pop it out of place. And it just kind of holds in with friction, and it holds into all these different places. But if you push it all the way out, then you can watch videos in landscape mode. Portrait mode is not going to work with this type of kickstand, so if you're wondering if you could do that, no you can't, not with this type. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that back in there. The cutout on the back is amply sized. You have no problem getting into your fingerprint sensor, heart rate sensor, and the cameras aren't obstructed at all, neither is the flash. And also has this nice gloss black look to it that matches the black on the black version of the Galaxy Note 8. Looking over to the bottom, there's plenty of room for the S Pen. That cutout is amply sized. You can get the S Pen in and out with no problems at all. And you also do still get a decent amount of protection there as well, so you don't have to worry about drops on that corner either. As far as drop protection goes, you do get raised bezels on the top and bottom. You get pretty decent protection from this. I'd say waist drops, no problem. Head height, you do pretty good with head height. But again, I wouldn't make a habit of doing it. But if you accidentally dropped it from head height when you're making a phone call or something like that, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Also, if you're looking for basically the exact same case but a tiny bit thinner, you can get the Slim Armor. So this is the Tough Armor. The Slim Armor is identical, just a little bit thinner. So that option is there for you if you want it. But honestly, this doesn't feel too big in the hand. It doesn't feel bulky at all. And this is actually one of my daily driver cases. I use this case most of the time and this case here most of the time, which I'll show you guys in a second. These are my two most used cases that I switch back and forth between of the cases here. And honestly, that's really just comes down to style. I just really personally like the style of this case, and I like the simplicity and style of this one as well, and I'll show you guys that one now. The next case here is the Rhino Shield Crash Guard. This is a bumper case. It's one of the only, if not the only, bumper case you can get for your Galaxy Note 8. And it's actually rated for a drop height of 11 feet, which is higher than a basketball hoop, to put that into perspective. So that's really, really crazy. And you wouldn't think it just by looking at it, but I gotta tell you, once you put your phone in this case, it actually does feel like you could drop this from over a basketball hoop and have the phone still be fine. Really quick before I put this case in, when you first get it, because it is a bumper case and it doesn't have a solid back, it is going to be hard to press it in to get it to fit on. Now, I've put this on and off a few times, and I've had it on and off for a few days, so it was a little bit easier for me to get it on. But when you first get this case, it's going to take a bit of force to get that last corner in. That's a good thing, because it means this is a very snug fitting case, and you really want something super snug if you're going to have just a bumper case. Taking a quick look at the bezels, they are pretty big on this one, which is great. You're really going to want that, and it's because of these big bezels that you do get that super big drop protection, that 11-foot drop protection. I'd say, especially the way it feels in the hand, I'd be fully comfortable dropping it head height multiple times, no problem. Now, obviously, the back is fully exposed, so, well, number one, it makes for great access to your cutouts because there's nothing back here. But also, that means that if you drop it on the back, if you drop your phone backside down and it drops onto a rock or a pebble or something like that, then it's going to hit the glass on the back and it could crack the back. So that's one of the disadvantages to this case. While it looks great because you could see the back of your phone, you do lose a little bit of protection on the glass itself if you're going to drop it specifically onto like rocks or pebbles or something like that. Now, to be fair, if you drop the phone face down, you're going to have that problem no matter which case you have, because the screen's always exposed, with the exception of the folio case here. If you have it closed, then obviously your screen will be protected. Button tactility on this one is also great, very clicky. Flipping over to the back again, I want to point something out real quick. The bezels on the back are raised, as I mentioned earlier, but they're also raised on the sides. So these bezels actually come up just above the glass on the back of the phone. So if you were to drop this on a pipe, then it would actually hit the sides of the case first before hitting the glass on the back. So it's nice that they thought of that when they made this case to give you a bit more protection when dropping onto pipes or corners of things and stuff like that. You do get a bit of protection on the back. On the front, you don't get that because in order to have good access to your edge panels, you need to have a recessed bezel, a bezel that sits below the screen on the sides. Obviously, the tops and bottoms, you're good to have nice thick bezels, but on the sides, if you want to have good edge screen access, you have to have recessed bezels. And you'll notice that that's true with all of these cases. They all have recessed bezels. There are a few cases that you can get online that don't have recessed bezels that actually come up over the sides of the phone, but your edge screen doesn't seem to work as well when you do that. But if the edge screen is something that you never ever use, then I guess you could go ahead and get one of those cases and be perfectly happy with that. The cutout on the bottom is decent for the S Pen, getting it in and out. It's not hard to get it in and out, but it is a bit more difficult than the rest of the cases here. There's just a lot more girth, I guess, a lot more case, a lot more protection around the corner of the phone. And they kind of need that to be able to say that they can do an 11-foot drop and still be fine. You definitely need more protection on the corners to do that. So, you know, it's very protective, it's great, and it is just a tiny bit harder to get the pen out, but it's not so much harder that you're going to hate the fact that you bought this case. It's certainly not a deal breaker, let me put it that way. It's not a deal breaker, but it's just something that you should be aware of. So that's it for the Crash Guard case. Now let's take a look at the next one. And real quick, to take the Crash Guard case off, I noticed that for some reason it's easier to start in the bottom corner from the front of the phone pushing to the back of the phone. So if you're going to take the case off, that's how I recommend you do it. That was really the easiest way for me to do it. So we'll go ahead and set this down and take a look at the next case. This next case is for anyone who wants a clear case. They want to be able to see the back of their phone, but they don't want it fully exposed like you'd have here with the Crash Guard. And this is the Lumion Diamont, is how I'm going to go ahead and pronounce this. It's basically the word diamond, but a T at the end, so Diamont. Diamont sounds a little cooler, I think, so I'm going to go ahead and say that. Anyways, this is also a two-part case. You can see that the inside here is a flexible thermoplastic polyurethane, and this little outer shell here is polycarbonate. So I'm going to go ahead and toss the phone in. Now, Lumion has great buttons on their cases as well. They're very clicky, very tactile. That's one of the reasons why I recommend this case over all of the other clear-backed cases, is just because of the tactility of the buttons. And the other reason is because thermoplastic polyurethane, in my experience, does a lot better job at not getting scratches and scuffs on it compared to polycarbonate, which is what a lot of the clear cases are. Now, polycarbonate, it may be a little bit more transparent, a little more clear to see through, because as you can see, there's a deep black here for the back of the phone, but this section here is actually a bit faded looking. It's a bit washed out looking. So if you want a deeper black, then you could go ahead and try a polycarbonate case, and it might be a little deeper. But again, for durability, also drop protection, and scratch resistance, I would highly recommend you go with a thermoplastic polyurethane case. Another great thing about this case is that since it has this bumper here, this colored bumper, you can't actually see through to the buttons. It's just, for me personally, I'm not a terribly big fan of clear cases, but I know a lot of other people are. That's why this case is in here, because I know there's plenty of people looking for clear cases. But I'm just not a big fan of seeing the buttons here on the sides. I don't know why. I'm just not, it doesn't look terribly great to me personally. What I'd love to see is this type of bumper come around the back and the front to kind of hide these sections here. But again, that's just a personal preference. You may see this and you may think to yourself, wow, that looks great. I love being able to see the buttons. It looks very, I don't know, futuristic or something. So if that's your style, then awesome. I think this would be a terrific case for you. Bezels on the top and bottom are pretty good on this one. Waist height drops, no problem. Head height, you'll probably be okay, but again, I wouldn't make a habit of it with this one. This has very similar bezels to the first two cases I showed you. The cutout on the back is also amply sized. No problem getting to anything back here. No obstruction on your cameras either. And on the bottom, getting to your S Pen is also pretty easy. No problem at all with whichever finger you want to get the S Pen out with. You can do that just fine with the cutout they have here. So that's it for this Lumion case. Let's go ahead and take a look at the last case. This last case is the most heavy-duty case of the bunch, as you could probably tell already by looking at it, and it has the longest name of pretty much any case I've ever seen. Actually, probably any case I've ever seen. This case here is the Youmaker Heavy Duty Protection Kickstand Shock-Proof Clip Holster Case Cover. If you think I'm joking, look it up in the description. That's the title for this case. There's no other name for it. So that's pretty awesome that they have such a crazy long name with it. Now, obviously, this is two pieces here. So you have this clip piece that you can put your phone into, and then this is just a belt clip here. It can rotate all around in all different directions, so that's good. And then you've got plenty of room in there for really thick belts as well, so that's good. Before I set this aside, I just want to point out that you can put the phone in whichever orientation you want. So you could flip it around and have it facing out, you can have it facing in, you can flip it around and have it face the other way. So it works in all different orientations without any issues at all, in case you were wondering. So this is a two-part case. Well, technically three if you count this part, but to get it open, there's a little notch in the corner here, and you just put your finger into this notch and you pull out, and then you just slide your finger up, and then you pull the corner out like so. There we go. And then you slide the bottom out like that. So as you can see, it's a little difficult to get it out, but it wasn't extremely difficult. So to put this case on, you're going to put the front piece on first. So I'm going to go ahead and place my phone into here and snap that into place. Then I'm going to slide it into here, and just like the rest of the cases, I'm going to slide the bottom in first, and then I'm going to press the corners in, and then from there I'm going to just pull the edges over to make sure that everything is as it should be around the outsides. So there's the phone in the case. Fits very nicely, fits very snug, and as you can see, there's loads of protection on the top and the bottom. So in the top here, you can see that this actually comes up over the top of the phone and covers part of the top of the phone, and then same on the bottom, it comes over the bottom of the phone and covers part of the bottom. So this is a great feature for face down drops because you get even more protection. Not only are the bezels tall, but they also come up and cover part of the phone as well. So that's a really nice feature. And the other nice thing about this is that even though these bezels are big and they're coming up over the phone like this, it's completely comfortable to take a phone call. Like the bezels aren't weird, touching your ear or anything like that. It's very comfortable. Looking over to the back, you have an ample cutout for your cameras, fingerprint sensor, all of that. No problem reaching any of that at all. At the corners, you're going to see there's these little rubber feet that stick out further from everything else. And these are great because you get a little bit more shock absorption when you're dropping the phone on its back. If it lands flat on its back, this takes a little bit more of the hit, a little bit more of the impact. And the case here is actually both polycarbonate and thermoplastic polyurethane, but it's split up into multiple parts. So this intersection here, these grooves, I believe this is thermoplastic polyurethane in these grooves. This part here is polycarbonate, and then on the outsides again, it goes back to thermoplastic polyurethane, and then the front here, this front piece on the inside here, that's polycarbonate. This front piece on the outside is thermoplastic polyurethane. So they definitely have quite a mix of materials here, and that just really adds to the overall protection of the device. On the bottom, you have little ports that plug up here to give you a little bit more dust and water resistance. Now, this isn't a waterproof case by any stretch of the imagination. It's not advertised to be that, but I did dub this the construction worker's case because this will help keep dust out of your ports. So if you're a construction worker or you work in dusty environments in general, this is going to be a great case for you because 1, you're going to get a lot of protection, 2, you're going to get a nice belt clip, and 3, you get the added dust protection on the bottom. So that's why I really call this one kind of the construction worker's case. And it's super inexpensive as well. This is not a very expensive case at all, which is great because if you wanted like an OtterBox equivalent, it's going to cost you at least 2 or 3 times, if not more, what this case costs. So that's another great thing. Now, flipping over to the back, there's one thing that I haven't mentioned yet, which is probably one of the coolest things about this case. This little pattern here, this little groove, if you pull this out, you now have a kickstand. So you can now set this on its side, and you can watch things in landscape mode, or you can flip it up and watch things in portrait as well. So that's super cool. I haven't seen many case manufacturers do this, and it makes so much sense. When you're going to make a case that's super big and super bulky to be really protective, why not add a feature like this in there? This is just so simple and yet such an awesome feature to have, to be able to put it in portrait or landscape without any issues at all. And you can do it landscape this way or landscape that way. So if you want your volume buttons to be exposed, then this is a great case to do that with. And then when you're done, you just pull this piece back up and press it back into place, and you're good to go. As far as the S Pen cutout goes, it's actually pretty good, surprisingly. I mean, the case is pretty big, and as you can see, there's this huge protective section around here, but the bottom section's super exposed, so it's actually really easy to get your thumb in there and get the S Pen out. I'm surprised at how easy it is to get the S Pen out with a case that's as protective as this is. As far as button tactility goes, very clicky buttons, very nice buttons on this case as well. I mean, they just very, I mean, the clicks are kind of loud. I mean, you can clearly hear the clicks. I don't even think I need to bring it close to the microphone for you guys to hear that. Lastly, as far as drop protection goes, this is an awesome case. Head height, no problem, over and over and over again. I think this is just going to be a very protective, very good case for your phone. If you're looking for something super protective, you're a construction worker, something like that, then I'd say this is going to be one of your best bets. One thing I forgot to mention is that this material back here is a very smooth material, and this centerpiece is just a very hard plastic. It is very smooth, and these here, these are cutouts in order for the kickstand case piece to work, but at no point does any of this kind of come through the case, and it's not going to hit the back of your phone. It's not going to scratch the back of your phone. None of this comes up through there. Everything sits below the surface here, so there's nothing there to scratch your phone. Now that you guys have seen all these cases, you're probably wondering how you could score one for yourself. To enter the giveaway, just follow me on Twitter at Techisode TV. After every 10,000 views this video gets, I'll pick a case at random to give away and post about it on Twitter. Just retweet that tweet to enter. Like the video if you liked it, share it if you loved it, and subscribe to see the rest of my No Date coverage. And while you're at it, hit that notification bell so you can be the first to know when a new No Date video drops. And while you're waiting for the new No Date videos to drop, click the links on the screen to see the videos that I've already uploaded. That's it for this Techisode. I'll see you guys in the next one.